What's going on, everybody? My name is Ryan, and if you are into mobile or gaming tech, guess what? Good for you. You've come to the right channel. You know what? Before you leave, you should hit that little, subscribe button down there in the corner. And if you watch this video in full and you enjoyed it, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up. But listen, we're going to talk about an older phone today. Yeah, we're going to slow her down just a little bit. We're going to take a look into the history. And I'm kind of burying this as if you have no idea what I'm about to talk about, right? You didn't click on the title. You didn't click on the thumbnail. You don't know what this is, right? Surprise! It's an iPhone XS. Yeah, this is the gold XS. This is my phone. I've had this phone since date of launch, and I was all over it like white on rice. I did have the iPhone X in graphite beforehand and really enjoyed that phone. And despite the fact that this was an iterative update, I really wanted the gold color. So I wanted to talk about if you were in the market of getting yourself a new iPhone in 2021, and I say new kind of loosely in this case, should you consider saving a truck ton of money and getting yourself an iPhone XS? Spoiler alert. Yeah. Apple devices, as we know, are built to last for multiple years. It's not something that you should generally go out and buy a new one of every year, despite the fact that consumerism has it in our heads that we absolutely need to be doing that. But if you wanted to get yourself a very solid contender in the iPhone lineup, you can still go for something like the iPhone XS and be very happy with it. The build quality and the aesthetic of this phone has held up very well over the course of the last few years. We actually still have phones to this day being released brand new that have the same type of build and makeup as the iPhone XS. Here's an example. The frame of this phone is made out of stainless steel, and it's packed between a glass sandwich. There's so many other phones on the market that are doing that, even still. The only drawback that I found with these particular phones is that I personally am not a huge fan of that polished glass, that gloss on the back of a phone, simply because it's tend to be a little bit more scratch worthy. But to be honest, this particular unit has no marks on it, and I'm actually really impressed with how well I was able to take care of this, despite the fact that I may or may not be a little bit accident prone. But I digress. I will say that something I really enjoyed on both the 10 and the XS line was the fact that it had a 5.8-inch display, which for somebody of hands of my size, or rather lack thereof, because they are kind of tiny, this phone was super easy to use. I didn't have to pull off any random hand gymnastics to make use of the control center, which now was in its second year of being up in the top right-hand corner, whereas previously you would just swipe up from the bottom. But I didn't find that to be cumbersome. It wasn't an issue for me with this particular phone. And I do find that now that we are up to the 6.1-inch screens, that is a little bit more difficult. But what does that mean coming from somebody that uses an iPhone 13 Pro Max as their daily driver? I don't know. I kind of talked myself into a corner here, but let's move on from that. The camera on the iPhone XS still shoots absolutely amazing photos. If photography is your thing, and you don't want to get yourself like a really expensive iPhone or camera or what have you, the XS should, in theory, still fit within what you're looking to do and your budget, especially when it comes to video. Like this phone, despite the fact being a few years old at this point, is still capable of shooting 4K video of anywhere between 24 to 30 to 60 frames per second. So whatever you would prefer to do, have at it. It's actually really good quality. And to be honest, I was really surprised with how well the battery has been able to hold up over the course of the last few years, despite the fact that this phone has absolutely been taken through its paces, mine in particular anyway, and it was still able to handle an entire day of usage without sweat. So I was really excited. And yeah, I'm going to talk about the processor. I find like this is kind of a moot point with Apple products because a lot of the processors on older phones, you're not even talking about the iPhone 3GS that's behind me here, they tend to hold up and do very well several years down the line. And the XS was no different. I didn't have to wait for this phone to do anything. If I tapped on an app, I was in it. If I tapped on the settings, I was in it. I was ready to go. And I was like, you know what? This phone's actually still really good. in 2021. And what's more, it's still really attractive to hold on to. It just looks so good, especially if you have the gold variation, because the gold on this phone was just chef's kiss. Anyway, do you still have an iPhone XS? Are you still using one as your daily driver? I know this question is going to be a bit of a stretch, but if you are, I'm impressed. I want to hear what you think about your phone down in the bottom. And if you're in the market for getting an iPhone and you decide to go for a XS just based on this video, again, let me know in the comments, because I mean, that'd be cool. I got more retro videos coming though, so if you're into that sort of thing, do me a favor, consider hitting that subscribe button like I said at the beginning. And now is the time that if you enjoyed this video to hit that thumbs up. All right, you take care. I'll see you in the next one.